All right, latest update. It's been actually weeks since the last piece of this video was filmed. I got everything stripped out and went to work on getting everything just really clean, and then getting some spots on the floor exposed and grinded down to bare metal so that I could see what I needed to do as far as spot treating a couple holes with some, first off, some rust encapsulator, and then fiberglass and resin patch and stuff like that. But one of the things I knew I was also going to do was I took down the headliner, and because I knew ultimately I was going to put in new insulation and sound deadener up there in the roof. So when I took down the headliner, which was easy, the insulation though that was up there is a big sheet of insulation. It was the glue that held that in there. I fought that stuff, just trying to, not take the paint off, but get the resin off. I finally gave up, and I just got a grinder out, a sand grinder, and pretty much didn't sand it all the way down to the bare metal except for a couple spots. But I pretty much attacked it with a lot of aggression as far as grit on the sandpaper. Got it all down. I got it to a point that I was satisfied as far as its smoothness. And then all I did was just sprayed, even though there wasn't any rust up there at all, I went ahead and sprayed it with a rust preventative, rust preventer, rust reformer, whatever, as a base, and then a couple applications of primer, and then I went ahead and just put one quick application of clear coat on there, just kind of like a sealer. Because like I said, all I'm going to do up there next is apply, sound deadener, panels, and then new insulation before I put the headliner back up. But so I got that done, and so now what I was able to do was I got everything exposed that I wanted to, and what you see here over on the passenger side, there was already a resin and fiberglass patch done, but there's a couple other spots that need to be treated. So I grinded those down to expose the rust in the metal, just a couple minor spots, and I did rust encapsulator on those. And then same thing over here. I've already covered it, so you can't quite tell, but that little mess right there, if I grind it any flatter, I'm gonna grind a gigantic hole, like a rather large one, the size of your fist. So I pretty much ground it as low as I could, and there's a couple of spots you can see all the way down to the ground. And then back here, right there, there's not really a hole, but there's a big bump right there, and it's hard. It's like the metal took a dent. It's not really a big rust bubble or anything like that. But anyway, so a little bit of rust encapsulator, gonna let that dry overnight, see how that looks, and then I'll hit a fiberglass patch right there, one little spot over there. I also ground those seams. They had a couple little bubbles on them, so the back of the cab and then the back of this floor pan where right before it meets the back of the cab. So got all that ground down to get the the exposed rust, and I mean, I'm talking surface rust. It was not a big deal at all, but I figured while I'm in here doing it, I'll go ahead and do it. So the next couple steps, I'm gonna wait to do the roof until I'm ready to insulate and sound deaden everything. But the next couple days, hopefully what I'm gonna get done is the resin and fiberglass patch in a couple spots, new seam sealer. And I basically ground out the entire seam where the floor meets the back of the cab. I ground that out, pulled that out, so you get a whole new seam seal in there. And then I am going to go ahead, I've pretty much got all the free floating surface rust off of that. I am going to go ahead and treat that with a rust dissolver, just to take a little bit more of the surface rust off of there, and then go ahead and hit that with rust encapsulator as well. Once all that is done, before the sound deadener and floor insulation goes in, I will probably then go ahead and coat the entire floor with Pour 15, just as again as a preventative in case I get any water leaks coming in here. I don't think I will, and I'm going to do a couple water tests before I seal this whole thing back up. So that's where we're at. So next time the video comes on, hopefully I'll be quite a few more steps past here, and I'll probably wrap this video up when I feel like I have the entire cab prepped and I'm ready to start installing stuff back in, and I'll make the install a completely separate video, including the new radio I got. And I got new radio. I'm pretty excited about it. Whole new radio that's going to go in, a single DIN modern radio, and we're going to have brand new 6.5 Kenwood speakers. It's a Kenwood Bluetooth radio. And then this truck, you can't see it, I don't know even why I've got the camera in there, but this truck came with an in-dash speaker that wasn't being used, and it had completely rotted away, but it was mounted in there. So I pulled that out, and what I did end up getting was a dual voice, basically 2 speakers in one kind of thing. And I'm not a radio guy, just like I'm not a mechanic guy, so I'm learning this stuff as I go. But I basically am gonna have, you know, right and left side in that one speaker in the dash. That's going to be the quote-unquote front speakers, and then the 6.5 inches speakers in the doors will be the quote-unquote rear speakers. So hopefully we're going to have some pretty good sound in here with new sound deadener, which has never had before, new insulation, all new flooring, you know, whatever. So pretty excited about it. So like I said, hopefully the next time when I come back on momentarily, we will show the rest of the floor and the interior prepped and ready for install, and that's where we will wrap this video up. So